Power scaling in anime is stupid. You have character 1 and character 2 face off against each other and calculate who wins. You list their strengths, their weaknesses, and whoever has the most hacks wins, right? Well, that's dumb, because this character isn't touching this character literally. And last time I checked, touching your opponent is the most important part of the fight. And what I'm referencing is the logia reflex. The logia reflex is one of the most undermined abilities in power scaling. To clarify what a logia reflex is, you gotta know what a logia is in general. A logia devil fruit is a devil fruit that once eaten allows its user to create, control, and transform into a naturally occurring element like light, fire, ice, or magma. To clear up any misconceptions, logia users cannot manipulate existing elements that aren't linked to their powers, meaning if there was a campfire in front of Ace, Ace couldn't use the fire from the campfire like a firebender, he can only use the fire that he creates. Another misconception is that people think the logia reflex is automatic, but it isn't. When eating a logia, you have to actually train yourself to use the logia reflex, meaning you have to train your body in order to automatically somewhat turn into your element, if that makes sense. But the best way to attack a logia user would be to knock them out or sneak up on them. Okay, now that info was shared, the reason logia users can't be hit at all by attacks is due to the fluidity of an element. An example would be Smoker. Because his body turns into smoke, bullets and fists just pass through him because smoke isn't solid matter. Now that may make you think, what about logias like ice? Ice is a solid element, so why doesn't Aokiji count? Now the simple reasons for this is because ice can't feel pain and Aokiji turns his body into ice. But yeah, ice doesn't have pain receptors, and when things hit Aokiji, his body just shatters and he rebuilds himself. Despite all this, logias still have drawbacks, which would be the natural counter to the elements they can turn into. Every logia has a weakness. A great example is Crocodile. When wet, he can't use his powers, or a nail, because Luffy's body acts as an insulator. Luffy could hit a nail without Haki. Another thing that's undermined is the damage one would get from attacking someone made of fire in the first place. A lot of people say, oh, that character is just gonna brute force past it doesn't matter. I mean, sure, you could totally just brute force punching gas, if that makes sense. This goes past just physical attacks. Logia users can even survive explosions and maybe even other forms of damage. Like imagine Yujiro Hama versus Karibu. He could never hit him, even though Yujiro could probably punch faster than Karibu would realize, which is fair. Honestly, I wouldn't even take that away from him, but he could turn into a swamp. But for characters like the Admirals who have observation haki allowing them to predict the movements of their opponents, they can't be touched. And I only use Hanma as an example because he's really a perfect example of brute force or brute strength, and an example of how you can't brute force punching air. But there's definitely better examples of brute strength than him. Okay, now I want to be completely fair on both sides, because besides the conventional methods of damaging a logia user, there's at least 3 other ways I can think of to do this. The first one being soul attacks. Now the body and the soul are 2 different things, which is why attacking the soul would be an effective method of attacking a logia. The first ability being idle transfiguration. Now when Mahito touches you, he touches your body, but he also touches your soul, which enables his ability to work. Now the second type of attack that will be most effective is a mental attack. Like I said before, logias have to consciously transform, and if you can somehow affect their consciousness or mental state, you can prevent them from transforming. Now the third kind of attack would be a curse-like attack. So a status effect is a great example, because this status effect would target the logia user's actual body. Alright, I'm gonna go off script because I know you JJK fans got a little excited once I said curse, but slow down. I want to talk about something called natural function. So ki and chakra are the same thing whether you dislike the idea or not. They're both bodily energies that function differently, but are the same thing, just used in different ways. The same goes for cursed energy. While they're all an energy that comes from the same place, they all have different functions. To point it out straight, cursed energy doesn't allow sorcerers to touch light because that isn't its natural function. It'd be the same for ki or chakra unless someone using those had it as an ability. Light is a better example than any other element because it's the most consistent. It's everywhere, whether artificial or natural. If it was cursed energy's natural function to touch ambient light that's everywhere, they do it, right? Like I said before, Haki can't do this either, but Haki's natural function does allow its users to attack logias. And there's the difference. That's why verse equalization is stupid, because now you have to ignore the rules and advantages that both sides have and dim down the characters till it doesn't even matter. Anyways, if y'all enjoy my pointless rants, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Rolls-Royce pull up, Blackmore hop out. Shout out to my mother and my father. Hold up! That's what my mom was saying. She was crying and shit.